All right, my friends, let's go ahead and talk about apostrophes. Now, let's look at this sentence first. The dog's house is red. In this sentence, we have an apostrophe right there, right after the G and right before the S in dogs. Now, if you don't already know, apostrophes are used to show possession and, in the case of contractions, to indicate missing letters. So by possession, what I mean is if you have a noun, a person, place, or thing that owns something else, we have to show that ownership somehow. And the way we do that in English is we use an apostrophe and an S. But apostrophes have another job too, and it's to indicate missing letters when we have contractions. So if we look at these words like isn't, I'm, wasn't, can't, all of those words are called contractions, and they are just two words that have been smashed together. And when we do that, we use an apostrophe to show that letters are missing. So they have those two jobs. One, show possession. Two, show missing letters. Let's keep going. Right here, we have three different versions of essentially kind of the same word. The first one is dogs, which is plural. The next one is dogs, which is possessive. And then the last one is dogs, which is plural and possessive. Now, the reason why we're reviewing this right now is because these three words have different meanings, and you probably already know that. But the reason that they have different meanings is just because where the apostrophe is placed. So that tiny little air comma thing that's just floating around really changes the meaning of your words and of your sentences. So it's important that it goes in the correct position. Let's look at these three versions of the same word in sentences and kind of pick apart what the apostrophe actually does to each of them. After they ripped up the carpet in the living room, the dogs were banished to the backyard for the rest of the day. In this sentence, we have D-O-G-S, no apostrophe. In that case, that just means that there is more than one dog. It is plural. The dogs don't own anything. There's just more than one of them. And we can see that from the word they at the beginning of the sentence. And then because we didn't use an apostrophe, we know that there isn't any possession. It's just plural. Here's our next sentence. After he ripped up the carpet in the living room, the dog's owners banished him to the backyard for the rest of the day. It's really close, but you'll see here that there is an apostrophe. And we have he instead of they, which means there is only one dog. So in this sentence, there is one dog who owns or is possessive of his owners. It's kind of like owner inception, right? But this dog has some sort of possession tying him to his owners. We would say his owners. He's attached to them. For that reason, dogs needs to be possessive, and to do that, we'd use the apostrophe S. Now, this is the trickiest sentence. Let's look at it. After they ripped up the carpet in the living room, the dog's owners banished them to the backyard for the rest of the day. Here we have the apostrophe after the S, and we do that when the word is both plural and possessive, when there's more than one dog and all of them together own something. So let's look at this a little bit more closely. After they ripped up the carpet, so that they shows us that there's more than one dog. So we know that it's plural. But then we also know that it's possessive because, again, they are attached to their owners. We would say their owners. And because of that, we need the apostrophe somewhere. But because the word is already plural, we are going to put the apostrophe after the S rather than before it. Now, one last thing. Here's a quick review for you. Always use an apostrophe in contractions. That's when you smash two words together. And make sure to use an apostrophe to show ownership. But when you do that, make sure to place the apostrophe carefully, depending on whether or not the noun is plural. And if you're still iffy on the difference between plural and possessive, go back in the video to where I had each of those words individually. And you'll notice that the apostrophe goes in different places depending on if it's just more than one dog, if the dog owns something, or if there's a bunch of dogs and they all own something. And as always, if you have questions, let me know.